This is Hopium Radio, your #1 radio station, your favorite source of dopamine hits for your Bitcoin bullishness. Broadcasting every day on the internet, where every dip is healthy, every pump is inevitable, and every chart is somehow confirming the thesis. No financial advice, just conviction and bull speeches strong enough to make you whisper, "I'm never selling," like it's a bedtime prayer. So whether you're up 12% and feeling chosen, or down 25% and suddenly a philosopher, you're in the right place. Lock in, turn it up, and stack sats responsibly, irresponsibly, because you're tuned in to Hopium Radio, where the signal is strong and the positivity is borderline toxic.
Ladies and gentlemen, the speech you're about to hear is from Jack Mallers, delivered at Bitcoin Atlantis 2024 in Madeira, Portugal. A young and determined voice in this space, Mallers is known for his passion for Bitcoin, and as of this recording, he serves as the CEO of Strike, a platform built to make Bitcoin transactions simple and accessible. And now, Jack Mallers.
Bitcoin is money plus time plus energy plus information. Okay, money, the first section. What is it? Another impossible question. What you guys need to know is that money is information, okay? And let me try and explain the best I can in a few minutes. Let's say that we have a village on the river, and this village has a population of 2. Tiny little village, okay? One grows apples, and one grows wheat. Now let's say they go to trade, and they say, oh, that says, would you be willing to trade 10 apples for 1 bag of wheat? And the wheat grower says, yeah, of course, sure, right? So you have this village of 2. The economy is very simple. One has apples, one has wheat. They exchange. Now let's say the population of this village doubles, and someone who grows cattle moves into the river village, and someone who makes boots and clothes moves into the village. And the apple lady goes, hey, I got 10 apples again. Can I get a bag of wheat? And the wheat man goes, no, I want a steak for my wheat. I don't want your fucking apples. All right? And she goes, well, that's a problem because all I have is apples. So she goes to the guy with all the cows and says, hey, can I give you my 10 apples for a steak? And he goes, I don't like apples. I can tell you what, though, I've been working hard in the field and I need a new pair of boots. And she goes, Jesus Christ, man, God damn it. Fine. And she goes to the guy that makes boots. She said, all right, I got 10 apples. Do you mind giving me boots, man, please? And he goes, yeah, sure. I'll take your apples for boots. And so then what she does is she trades the apples for the boots, right? She trades the boots for the steak, right? She trades the steak for the wheat, right? What do we learn here in understanding all of this nonsense? It's that barter is extremely inefficient, right? This is what we call bartering. This is an economy without money. Barter is inefficient and extremely time-consuming. It is very difficult to exchange a large number of goods and services through barter. Barter suffers of what we call the coincidence of wants. Is do you have what I want, and do you want what I have? And it doesn't allow for the division of labor, right? If barter, you can only have an economy of 2, you can't hyperfixate and build something really particular because they may not coincidentally want what you're making, right? So in order to have a really big economy, the takeaway is that we need something else. We cannot just exchange the goods that we're creating. So what do you guys think we need to support an economy? And today we live in a world of 8 billion people, not 2. There's not 2. I mean, how many people are standing right in front of me? There's not 2 of us, right? There's a lot. We need a medium of exchange. We need money, right? And so money is a medium of exchange. It's a market good that you acquire, not to consume it, not to eat it like an apple or wheat, but to use it to exchange later, okay? So if our apple grower were able and had access to create apples and exchange it for money, then she can hold the money and then always exchange it for what she would need in the future, right? Does that make sense? And so money solves barter, okay? And money it's more efficient, it makes trade easier, and it scales the economy. It really solves the coincidence of wants, right? Where I can make something and you don't need to want what I have for me to exchange. Can you imagine if I walked into the grocery store and I said, hey, I'll work on Strike Europe tomorrow if you give me a steak? It solves the coincidence of wants. I can work on Strike Europe tomorrow and get paid money for it. I could take the money, I can go get a steak. Now, what makes a good money? A good money needs to be durable. It has to last through time. All the units have to be the same, okay? You cannot have a money where one unit is different than the other. It has to be portable. So you have to be able to custody it, you have to be able to transport it, you have to be able to verify it. It has to be divisible. You have to be able to make change. It has to be hard to create more of. And the most important property is that your money should maintain its value as you save it. As we learned through the village of the apple grower, money is important to scale an economy, and this is what money needs to have. So the better the money, the better the society. The better we can all trade, the more we can all focus on our interests in building something very specific very well. Now, were apples a good money for that lady? Well, no, clearly not, right? Apples aren't very durable. There are different apples, like maybe you like green apples, maybe you like red apples, right? Like each unit is not the same. They're not very portable. They're not very divisible. How do you make change? Like, thank you for your purchase for 1 apple. Your change is 0.27 apples, right? They're very hard to make change out of, and they don't last through time. So we arrive back at this idea of money is information. Really, what makes a good money is it records who owes what to whom in society, okay? So throughout the history of humanity, we've had primarily 2 forms of money technology that we've been able to use. We've kept lists of things, of who owes what to whom, and we've used physical tokens, like an actual item, to record who owes what to whom. For example, an item we've used is gold, right? Gold is a money, right? And it's an item. How do I know who owes what to whom? If I have 100 ounces of gold, the world owes me 100 ounces of stuff, right? Now, what are the problems with gold? Is it good money? Gold's very durable. Each unit of gold is the same. However, gold's not very portable. It's not very divisible. It is hard, though. It does keep its value relatively over time. Now, what about a ledger? What about the US dollar, for example? The ledger is portable. It is divisible, but it's not very hard. It loses its value over time. Okay? So this is kind of the world that we live in today as far as money goes. Obviously, apples are bad money, but we've tried all sorts of ledgers, and we've tried all sorts of physical tokens and things. The problem is that ledgers are very, very efficient. They scale to all 8 billion of us, but they require trust. Tokens don't require trust. You don't need to ask anybody to own gold or spend gold. But they don't scale to all 8 billion of us. They're not very portable, they're not very divisible, right? And so, what's an example of a ledger that we use today? All of the fiat currencies. So the Federal Reserve keeps a ledger, the European Central Bank keeps a ledger, the Bank of England keeps a ledger. The central banks are all these ledgers of who owes what to whom. They get to keep track of that. What's an example of a token? Gold, maybe silver, seashells, salt has been used before, right? We get the idea. One is information, one is a physical object, right? Does that make sense? They're not necessarily the same thing. And this is a very important idea, this quote. If you have an apple, and I have an apple, right, and we exchange these apples, we each still have 1 apple. Now, if I have an idea, and you have an idea, and we exchange these ideas, now we both have 2 ideas. It's different than an apple. And this shows you that the information, exchanging information is very different than exchanging a physical object. information money is very different than physical money.
And there we leave it. Jack Mallers, from Bitcoin Atlantis 2024 in Madeira, Portugal. Thank you for listening. Stay with us for the next broadcast as we continue the program here on Hopium Radio.